Hello and welcome. Does your laser rat not fully deploy when you're most dependent on it? In today's video, I will show you how to disassemble, diagnose, and repair, then reassemble your laser rat so it's ready for the next confrontation. For this particular laser rat, I can see that the spring that's supposed to be in the designated divider or groove at the bottom end of the vehicle is not inside where it's supposed to be. We're just going to have to take apart this laser rat and see what's wrong with it. Now, to begin the disassembly process, you must flip the vehicle over and remove 4 screws from the bottom. Simply tilt the axle and extend the wheels, exposing each screw. Now, after you removed the last screw, be prepared for the whole toy to fall apart. No worries, I'll explain what you see right here in front of you. We have the gearbox. In this case, the gearbox is used as a reduction of motion within the toy, and it seems to be working properly. We then have the 2 side panels. This is the little spring for the driver console to spring up when the toy is deployed. Let's put the side panels aside and let's look at the driver console. The driver console has a little groove in it with which you put the spring when you're assembling the toy. We'll get back to that later. This is the turret for the cannon. The main spring is located here. It seems to have enough tension, which leads me to the conclusion that the spring wasn't placed in the groove to begin with. The gun doesn't seem to fully deploy either, gun or cannon. I might have to use a little bit of oil to lubricate it so it can fully deploy later. Here I'm going to go ahead and take apart the gun turret to the laser rat. Now, I discovered taking apart these little laser rats that it's not necessarily the gearbox that's malfunctioning. Since the gearbox doesn't have a main spring, the gun turret is what houses the energy or the main spring to power the toy. So by taking it apart, I'll be able to show you. Using a light touch with an X-Acto knife, in this case I'm using the shortest tool, cutting tool on my multi-tool, slowly pry away each side of the gun turret. As you do that, it slowly unfastens itself from the main frame. Now, as you can see here, you see the main spring, the small little spring which powers the actuant button, and then you see the latch, and also you can see how the gun folds backwards. These springs are what power the toy. If you can bend it just a little bit or unwind the spring just a tad and then put it back into place, it should be enough to power the toy normally. Since it's been over 3 decades the toy has been used, I think this mainspring needs a little bit of a refresher. So after you've readjusted the mainspring to the desired tension, go ahead and replace the cover. Now the two snaps that you slowly removed with your X-Acto knife are going to give you a little trouble. You can push them in firmly, but they may not go in all the way. I'm using my knife here to take away a little bit of the plastic I bent out of place when I remove the cover. I'm going to go ahead and take my screwdriver and tap in the corner there. I'm going to do it for the other side too. That way it's flush. Since it's a plastic fastener, it uses pressure to stay in place. This part is good to go. All I need now is to put the screw back in, and it'll be good to go. Let's get back to our current build. Since I can't see anything else wrong with this toy, and the gearbox is running normally, let's go ahead and reassemble the toy the proper way. Since the spring wasn't in the groove as shown here, we'll properly put it in there and then reassemble the toy. Okay, let's start with the center console and the spring which makes it pop up when deployed. To place that spring, there's a little hole for the end of it that it goes into. And the cylindrical spring at the other or middle end of the spring goes into a groove. Then simply place the groove on the peg which is on the console onto the other side of the spring. Keep it there with your fingers until you have the left-hand panel on it and attach it to it, making sure the spring is inside that panel. And there you go. Now, keeping your fingers on the panel, extend the wheel and angle the axle to expose where the screw hole is. Then, preferably with a magnetically tipped screwdriver, like a real acrobat, place your first screw back in the toy. And then repeat on the same side for the second screw. Now for the installation of the turret. Making sure that main spring goes into the groove and the peg that's on the turret slides into the left-hand side panel and just above the gear. Pushing away the seat with your finger, simply slide in the turret, making sure that main spring goes into the groove. It takes a little bit of doing, but it can be done. Now that you have the turret in place, you can slide in the right-hand panel. And you're almost there. Simply repeat the process that you did for the left-hand panel by tilting the axle and pulling out the wheel to expose the screw hole. As you can see, the Laser Rat is almost done. The turret fully deploys, except for the cannon. The spring above is a little rusty, so I'm going to have to get some oil and lubricate it a little bit. Hopefully, that'll get rid of the problem. It looks like a successful deployment. Taking a Q-tip with a little bit of gun oil and rubbing it on that rusty spring really helped. It looks like it's another successful repair. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.